What's going on, sir?
Hey, how's everything, brother? Thank you for having me on the show. I deeply appreciate it, and I'm grateful for the opportunity. Shout out to everybody who's tuning in right now, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and for all the hecklers, I got something for you today. For everybody that I watch the comments, brother. I see what people say. I read the things that they say. This is the show for you today. We're going to talk about the race. We're going to talk about how I'm going to defeat her. We're going to go over my 5-point plan. But we're going to do a little red pilling today.
Right now, you're running against AOC in New York, and you've already filed your paperwork and all of that.
I'm officially filed and running for District 14 in New York City. I'm born and raised in New York City. I was born in Brooklyn, raised in Brooklyn, but I spent countless years in the Bronx, living in the Bronx, living with my sister in the Bronx, living with my brother in the Bronx. I've lived in the Bronx myself for a few years, having a place out there with the ex-girlfriend. I'm more in tune to what's going on in these districts than the person who pretends to be from the districts and what she talks about. I think the most important thing that we need to deal with are 5 key issues: prison reform, housing reform, education reform, job opportunities, definitely, and we have to deal with the discrimination against individuals in their voting and their right to vote within New York City. There's a great deal of disenfranchisement when it comes to African Americans and Hispanics and every other minority in New York City. Whenever you can have someone come from another country that's here illegally and they can still, like my nephew passed away. This is real. This is real story. Today is his birthday. Someone stole the license plates. He died in a car accident. And someone stole the license plates, and they're using it on their vehicle, and it just so happens that the person who did it was an illegal. So,
wow.
Yeah, so like we're really dealing with illegal immigrants stealing the identity of the deceased and using it to commit crimes within the city.
That's just crazy.
That's crazy. And then you have to think about, what about the people who spent $50,000 to get here legally, to open up a business, to do things the right way, to learn English?
Yep.
What about these people? Why is it that we don't care about these people?
I call it digital book burning, because you're on these digital platforms, on the socialist media platforms, and then because you're saying something that they don't like, they just delete your account. I mean, that's people's life stories are on these socialist media platforms, and it is deleted. So I call it digital book burning, because it's just like you said, it's just like Nazi Germany. We're experiencing it all over again. Unless you think the way we tell you to think, then you're a problem. You know what I'm saying? You're a problem if you don't. It's just crazy. And you know what? I'm really wanting President Trump to do something. I know so let me just say this. He put the little form out, right, where you can go in there and you can do your grievance against Facebook, YouTube, and et cetera, et cetera. But the thing is like, what's going to happen? What's going on? What's going on? It's like, we all need an update. So it's just crazy.
Well, I have my top 5-point plan, but within the bills that I'll be presenting, and I'm going to make sure that this is something that's dealt with.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. These platforms are publishers. Okay, so we're going to start having to hold them accountable the same way we would a newspaper. The same way we would use any laws against any other publication. We're going to have to do the same thing with these social media platforms. I'm heavily censored. I mean, I'm the only Montega on Instagram. There is no other. I have the name, period. It's my name. Mm-hmm. I've had it for years. Since Instagram first started, I had that name. So now when you put my name in, you either don't see me at all, or I'm like 15th after people who have my name, hashtag, other stuff with it, but they're not me. And being that I'm the only Montega, I should come up first. You understand? Not my backup accounts, not the tattoo accounts, not some girl who's stealing my name, not some company who just was created this year to try to steal my name. The things that these people are doing and getting away with is something that Congress is going to need to act on, because once the president tries to step in, they're going to automatically say he's a dictator. This is what they do. He's trying to stop free organization or whatever lie they want to put out there. They're going to try to make him seem like a dictator. So he's trying to tread light in light of dealing with people trying to set him up for something he didn't even do in the first place.
Yeah. You know, I noticed that actually someone created a Unite America First Twitter page or Twitter account, and they're using my Unite America First, and it's not even me. And I mean, completely taking it, it's like they're trying to, you know, get attention, or I don't know what it is, why they do it.
Trying to build their platform off of your success.
That's exactly what it is. And I'm like, I mean, like, really? Can't be original? And maybe they're trying to do it so then that way they can divert people to that one instead of coming to mine. That could be a lot of the reason why they're doing it too. And you know what? Since you've actually filed, to my understanding, that you actually filed to run for Congress, to my understanding, now someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but to my understanding, once you have filed to run for Congress, these social platforms or socialist platforms, whichever you prefer, by law, they have to allow you to operate on these platforms, because see, by them not allowing you to operate that you have filed, they are being completely biased to a particular party or person. And by law, to my understanding, they can't do that. So they have, so like YouTube or any of these platforms that are not allowing you to operate, they have to, because you have filed, they have to reinstate you immediately. That's my understanding.
Hey, bro, listen, they do, but guess what YouTube did? I have a channel, the New Right Party channel. The channel was built off of truth, but expressing a vulgar way, well, using vulgarities to express yourself. I believe that a lot of people curse a lot. And I created a platform to expose a lot of things that was happening, but clearly the language is vulgar, and it was done so for entertainment purposes. That way we can give you the truth, but instead of boring you and you not, because some people will hear it and they're like, oh, I don't want to hear it, it's so boring. So to keep people entertained, I cursed a lot, and some things were done on purpose, and it was done as a way to entertain people. But the show was already already placed on a platform where you had to be 18 years and older to be able to view it. YouTube has stopped me from being able to go live on YouTube. They didn't send me an email as to why. They didn't give me an email as to how long, which is supposed to be 90 days. It's supposed to have been up this month. It's still not down. The restrictions are still in place. I'm still not able to go live on YouTube. And the reason why they do this is because they are afraid of the message. The reason why I'm running for Congress is because I'm tired of people lying, and I'm tired of being the guy that complains about people lying. Yeah, I'm just tired. So now it's to a point where you can say, okay, he was in jail, he was a drug dealer, he did everything, and the American people are going to look at you and they're going to say, some of us made mistakes too. If the last time I was arrested was 16 years ago and convicted of a crime was 16 years ago, it's safe to say I'm no longer a criminal. And it's safe to say that people can change. So I decided to say I don't have the greatest past, but I'll be the first politician in history to come forward. Well, I'm not a politician, but once elected, I will be. And I'll be the first one in the history of this country to come out and say, I've effed up in my past. I've done some things that I'm not proud of, but I put God in my life. I put God first, and I changed my life, and now look where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want the young black males, the Hispanic males, the hip hop generation,
right,
seeing someone that has done all of these things come to this point in their life where they're saying, I'm better than I once was. I don't need to have my pants hanging off of my behind. I don't need to disrespect women. I don't need to disrespect myself. I don't have to create music that promotes self-destruction, being promiscuous, abusing drugs. I can actually say it's cool to be intelligent.
That's nice. That's AOC. So let's talk about your 5 points, because you mentioned that a couple of times, because a lot of people would like to know that. I want to know that myself.
First and foremost, we have to deal with the reason why people are finding themselves disenfranchised in New York City. Okay, so let's get straight to housing and small business reform, because these two will kindly go hand in hand. All right. In New York City, if you're on Section 8 and you're a single mom, you can't have the father of your children living in your house. The left has created an environment where the man is being removed from the home. And what happens when a man is removed from the home? Well, the kids, they don't have any real discipline. They don't have any real discipline. Okay? The women are born nurturers. You know, when you fall and your mom is there, she picks you up, she kisses your boo-boo. When your father's there, he's like, boy, get up and walk it off. Walk it off. You better not try. You know, so when you remove that male structure from the household, you give the children a disadvantage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove restrictions of Section 8 in New York City. As long as the individual is the father of the children or you're married to the individual, then he can live in the domicile. He can live with you. We may remove some funds that's allocated to you. Let's say if we paid $800 in rent, we may only pay $730. We may only pay $680 in rent because now you have a male there. He should be able to contribute to the household. So, and we believe and we know that you are 3 times more likely to get off of Section 8 if you have someone there helping you. And it doesn't have to be a male. You could be married to a female, and still the female can be on the lease and on your Section 8 while you are there to help you get off of Section 8. Now, here's another thing we have an issue with. Funds are being outsourced to people from other countries, and they're giving grants to come here and open up small businesses within these communities, and the dollars do not remain in the communities. They don't benefit the communities that these small businesses or these local bodegas are placed in. They're sent back to Yemen, to Afghanistan, or to India, or whatever other countries these individuals are coming from, and then they're outsourcing the actual funds back to other countries. We have to put an end to that. So what we're going to do is, let's say if you're on Section 8, and we have to pay from, let's say from the point of you having a child, we would pay, and to the point of them being 18, we would pay $180,000 total in rent. Instead of doing that, we're going to open up programs where you can go learn how to create small businesses, get help creating business plans for your small business. And as long as you go through these steps and you go through these vocational programs, then what we're going to do in turn is we're going to invest up to $180,000 into your small business. Now, no one's going to have a small business for $180,000. That's a big business. So more than likely, we'll be investing $40,000, $50,000 into small businesses, but it will allow people to not only create jobs for people within the community, but to pay their own bills, to pay their own rent. You don't have to worry about someone handing you something or potentially taking it away from you because they've come to do an inspection on your house and they don't like the way the wall paint is, or they don't like the color of the paint because you didn't get permission to do so, or because you had someone that you love living in your residence with you. No, we're going to create an opportunity for you so you can actually get the chance to be a self-employed individual that actually gives people within the community the opportunity to have gainful employment also. So we're going to create that. So those two are going to go hand in hand. And now, still getting on the small business reform, we're going to make it law. Well, I'm going to make it law. I'm not going to let these people walk all over me. It's just not going to happen. I'm going to create a bill that will be passed into law that will make it a law that people within the community that have small businesses within the community are given grants first before you outsource them to people from other countries. So people from other countries just can't come and open up stores within the communities that you live in. Wow. Because when you go to these stores, especially in New York City, you go to these stores, and I have nothing against any Muslims because it's not about them, but right. It's about the position that they put the community in, which is clearly unfair. You will go into these stores and you will see an illegal working in there before you see a black brother working in the store. Before you see a black brother or a Hispanic brother cutting up sandwiches and working behind there, you'll see someone who doesn't even speak English behind there actually making your sandwiches. Now, there was a strike with the Muslim brothers in New York City, but they closed down all of their stores because they were supposed to have been a boycott because of Trump's so-called Muslim ban, which was a lie. But they closed all their stores down. You know how many black people within the community couldn't get milk for their kids, couldn't get milk for their babies, couldn't get Pampers for their babies? And none of these things were even thought about because it didn't matter. It didn't matter. There is no real small business opportunities for Hispanics and for Black Americans within these communities because they're outsourced to people who don't have an interest within the community. And I'm going to put an end to that. So that's two main things off the platform. Okay. Then we have the education reform. This is very, very important because we find out that the system isn't failing black men, it's failing black boys. Okay. Once a black boy, a Hispanic male, gets to fourth grade, this is where his grades start to dwindle. I've sat down with a great number of teachers from within the community. We've come up with a great plan to combat this. And teachers are trying to make a tenure. They want to be able to get into the union. So what we'll do is we'll require some of their time a month that will be donated so parents can come in on the weekends and actually learn a curriculum that the students are being taught. So the families don't sit down, so the mothers or the fathers don't sit down and feel inadequate looking at homework, and they're looking at it like, I haven't been to school for how many years? I don't know what I'm doing right now. You understand? So it's like it's hard to help them with the homework because you don't want to feel stupid looking at it. So now you have the opportunity to go to school, learn the curriculum. You can actually sit down with your kid and say, hey, I may not know it all, but I understand what the teacher was saying because this is what was shown to me when I actually went. And we have an era of because there aren't any fathers in the household, we have too many children that are disruptive in class, that have no respect for authority. And then we have parents, a lot of mothers out there who are just, I don't want to say this in a disrespectful way, sisters, but you're not holding up your end of the bargain. You're getting phone calls from teachers and they're telling you about how your child is being disruptive. They're calling you over and over and over again because of suspensions, and you're just delinquent when it comes to your child's education. So what we're going to do is we're going to give the teachers the opportunity to have a merit system to judge the parents as well, based on the contingency of what's going on with the children. Because sometimes it's not the children, it's the people in the household. Mm-hmm. It's the people. Some children are going home to households where they're being verbally abused. Mm. And then hurt people. Yep. So they're being hurt at home. So then they come to school and they find strength and bullying and picking on other people.
Oh, that's profound. That's profound. Hurt people.
So we have to find a way to get the parents the help that they need. Whether we have ACS step in, or we have the mothers sit down with the school guidance counselor to actually speak to someone, because the parents are dealing with a lot as well. So maybe they have a burden on their chest that they need to get off. Maybe they need to speak to somebody so they can feel better about what's going on in their lives. But we have to open up a dialogue. That way parents can understand you are just as important to your child's education as the books that they're reading.
Yeah, exactly.
So education is an important part of the platform. And then we get into prison reform. We ask ourselves, well, how do people go to prison? Well, of course, because of lack of resources within the community. We talked about how we're going to fix that. We talked about the educational system. We talked about how we can fix that, how we can combat that. Or what else? There is a scarlet letter being placed on a lot of people from the inner city. Black, Hispanic, Chinese, Asian, white, doesn't matter what color you come from. If you have a non-violent felony, you've been home for over 7 years, you have been gainfully employed, you have been involved in your communities, and you can show that you've had some sort of counseling, and you whether it's religious counseling or you went and saw a psychiatrist. After doing 6 years in prison, my father passed away. I couldn't go see him. My grandmom's passed away. My grandmother passed away. I couldn't go say goodbye to her. I came home very bitter, very angry. I took out a lot of my anger on my family members, and I didn't physically harm people, but I was just so difficult to be around. I could just imagine how my brother must love me, because I could imagine how being around me was. It was just bad. My idea was, I'll beat you up. You understand? So I was just horrible to deal with. But then I went and I sat down and saw a psychiatrist. I took my burdens and I just unloaded them and I got them off my chest. And not only did it make me better as a person, but it gave me a better dialogue with the individuals within my home. We started loving and healing. So if you can show me that you've done that, you don't have to go see a psychiatrist. You can actually go see a pastor. You can actually be in church every week since you've been home. But if you've been home for 7 years and you haven't been convicted of any new felonies or high crime misdemeanors, I am removing the felonies off of your record. I'm not going to hide it like they do in California, where you're still a felon, so you can't have firearms. You can't have firearms in your house, so you can't protect yourself. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it how they do in Colorado, where we're going to hide your felony. It won't come up if you're stopped, but you still can't possess firearms and protect yourself, take your children hunting, and have a part of the American dream. No, we're going to remove it off your record. You know why? If you owed the bank for 7 years, after 7 years, it's taken off your record. You start off again with a negative credit history, and then you get to build your credit again. If you pay the bank what you owe it, whatever was on your credit history is removed off of your credit history.
You paid your debt.
If you paid your debt to society, you're not a predicate felon. You're not a violent felon. So you haven't raped or seriously harmed anyone. Then you should be given the opportunity to have a life again. Just because because now they're making weed legal everywhere. So you could have had an ounce of weed on you a couple times, and then you got hit from a misdemeanor to a misdemeanor. Now you got a felony for marijuana possession. That's BS. You could have had small amounts of drugs on you. I sold crack cocaine. I did so because I didn't have a lot of opportunities. I didn't have a lot of opportunities. I took the opportunities that I felt were pushed in front of me. And predominantly within the inner city, the first opportunity you have is the wrong opportunity. And people are making mistakes at an early age, 16 years old, before they even become an adult, before they're actually able to say whether or not they're sound in judgment. They're given this felony and they have to live with it for the rest of their lives. At 16 in New York City, you can't have sex. That's not the legal age of consent for you to have sex. So if you can't buy a cigarette, if you can't have sex because you're unable to think like an adult, well, why are the crimes that you committed at 16 years old being held against you while you're in your 30s? That's unfair. I'm going to go to remove it. I'm taking it off your record. And the thing is this. This is not just a free swipe clean and now you start all over. If you revert back to your criminal activity, we're going to beat you in your head. If the mandatory, if you would have, let's say if we take away your felony, but then you go back to reoffending again, and you're looking at 5 years, add 3 more years to it because you signed a contract with us stating that you will refrain from the same activities that got you in trouble in the first place. So if we do this favor for you and you sign this contract, you're now binded by law in an agreement to make sure that you do not go back to the life of crime that you once found yourself living in. And once you do, we're going to bang you on your head. This is not a free pass for people to be better criminals. We're not doing that.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking, and you know what? Thank God President Trump is doing prison reform too, because
I wish I could give, if he was on my show right now, I would give him a round of applause because, I got the sound effects. So President Trump has done something within the first 2 years of being in office that no one has done. And let me explain this to those people that are tuning in that has the most derogatory things to say about my brother that's here right now and the reason why he's for Trump. Let me explain this to you. From someone who did 6 years in prison, from the guy that you can't run up on and snatch his MAGA hat off his head because whether or not I'm running for Congress, I'll clean your clock. So I'm not letting none of that go, all right? I'm someone who's been in prison, hard time. I've left individuals who are never coming home. I've watched people get murdered inside of jail. I watched people take their own lives inside of prison. I also tried to commit suicide myself because I was looking at life for a crime I shouldn't even have been locked up for. This is real. I'm talking to you. This is real. This is serious. So you have the luxury of waking up in the middle of the night, going to the refrigerator and getting water, apple juice, turning over, seeing your loved one, kissing your loved one, whomever it might be. You have the luxury of waking up, going to take a shower when you want, going to the bathroom when you want, picking up the phone, calling whoever you want, any time of the day you want. But I know people who will never have that opportunity. Never. In the first 2 years of this man being in office, there are over 100,000 people coming home from prison. 100,000. There was a man who was looking at 3 life sentences who's home right now in Philly. And he's home right now because of President Trump's Second Chance Act. 2 years he's been in office and he got this done. So, Barack Obama's been in office for 8 years. The only thing he's done was the idea of crack cocaine and cocaine, the disparity between the two has come up when he was in office. And it was 100 to 1. So that's the time you would have got 100 to 1, 100 for crack and 100 for, and 1 for coke. So they was giving dudes who selling crack, like I had 3.5 grams. They were trying to give me life, in jail. While someone who has 3.5 grams cocaine won't even get probation, probably get a fine for it. You understand? They said it was 50 grams of crack. Someone who had 50 grams of coke will most likely get probation. So instead of them applying the law in a fair and just way, it was well, you know what Joe Biden did. Joe Biden created it.
Yeah.
He created
Right.
the disparity. So because of this, Trump said, you know what? I see what's going on. Let me go on. Let me create something, do executive order to change it, because Congress didn't help him. The majority of Congress voted against it. Barack Obama was in office for 8 years, and the only thing he did was he changed it from 100 to 1 to 20 to 1. And that was because of a case law from Booker Fanfan. It wasn't even because of Barack Obama. It was because someone within the prison system actually fought against it and took it to the Supreme Court and showed how corrupt the justice system was. So they bent a little on it. President Trump said, I'm going to break the system. The chain of broken homes and broken promises and over punishment. This is what President Trump did. So when you have something to say about President Trump, I'm going to tell you this. Shut up. Shut your mouth. Because you'll never know what it feels like to wake up in a 5x6 and see a wall, a concrete wall, every single morning. You'll never know what it feels like to have to sleep with a knife on you and your back to the wall and your body facing the door, your cell door, because you don't know who's going to try to run in your cell and try to harm you or try to steal something and take something from you. You don't even know what kind of environment these people are living in, what they have to endure and survive, how they have to be stripped of all of their clothes and their dignity in order to go to a visit to see their family members. And their family members are treated like criminals when they go see the loved ones that they have that are incarcerated.
Wow.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah. So AOC is occupying the seat. Has she done anything since she's been in office for your district?
Entire year. She started a greedy green deal. This deal would remove so many jobs.
So why do you think she's not?
She stole 25,000 jobs from out of the district.
Yeah, out of your district.
25,000 jobs. And
so,
not only that.
So instead of her bringing jobs to the district, instead of her bringing positive turnaround for the district, all she has done is, what the Democrats' motto is to try to keep the district down and to destroy it that much more.
And you know what the thing is? This is what the liberals do, right? Again, for all the people who has the most derogatory things to say, the only white people that has had the opportunity to work with blacks within these cities are liberals. The people who has created the laws, the policies, who's been in charge of the wealth of the inner city have been white liberals. They have destroyed the inner city, the black and Hispanic homes. I am black and Puerto Rican. My father's Puerto Rican, God bless his soul. My mother's black. Okay, I grew up eating collard greens, rice and chicken, and I grew up eating arroz con pollo and habichuelas. Okay, so in no way, shape, or form will you be able to say, I don't know what's going on both sides. I know exactly what's going on both sides, all right? And what has happened is these individuals have continued to steal the wealth from out of these communities, and then they point the finger at Republicans. But this is where Republicans fall short. They fall short because they allowed them to do it. They allowed them to do it. They allowed them to do it. They're so cowardice. It's like, yo, they're blaming you. They're blaming you for the crime. And instead of you saying, it's not me, it's them. They're doing it. And instead of you saying, they did this to you, they did that to you, they did da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Simple and plain. The Central Park 5 movie comes out. It's over-sensationalized, right? They dramatize it. They try to make it seem like Trump. Let me say something to you. Trump was wrong for putting an ad in the paper. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I was selling drugs. I was wrong selling drugs. I'm not the same person I was 15 years ago. That's first and foremost. No one is actually blaming. Well, now they're trying to blame the prosecutor, right? Now they're trying to hold her accountable. But before this movie, no one held her accountable. She held multiple positions.
Really? Wait a minute. Hold on. So before the movie, no one was even thinking about her, nothing.
So many different nonprofit organizations and other organizations is ridiculous.
Well, and so now the movie comes out. Now they're trying to go after her. After the movie. So and then tie it into what your views on BLM.
Was an organization that started because of the situation in Flint, Michigan. And now, mind you, no one is talking about in 2017. President Trump gave Flint, Michigan over $100 million towards their water crisis. And no one is saying that in 2019, President Trump commissioned the federal government to give Flint, Michigan $77.4 million towards their water crisis. Somehow, the media forgets to talk about the great things that Donald Trump does when it pertains to the African American or Black American or inner city or poor communities. So Black Lives Matter was founded from that. Consequently, the gentleman that started the Flint, Michigan movement was found murdered. He was killed. Black Lives Matter received $100 million. You see no structures of this organization with the communities that help the communities that they're supposed to be trying to help. In Chicago, more Black kids have died in Chicago during Barack Obama's tenure than both the Afghanistan and Iraq war combined. More people have died in Chicago than slavery added with it.
So BLM got $100 million put into the organization.
Disappear.
And they got a load of money put into the organization, and Chicago didn't probably reap any benefit of it, or tried to bring awareness to what's going on.
No programs that help the inner city. No programs that help education. No opening up of schools.
Nothing.
With $100 million, I could open up 3 schools right now. I could literally find and open up 3 schools right now. So you have to think about the Black Panther Party initially was a small mom and pop organization, but they was the first in this country to give a free breakfast and lunch to his kids going to school. And they did so on a mom and pop budget. Do you understand? So there is nothing being allocated back to the inner city or to Black lives. And if Black lives really matter to Black Lives Matter, then they will be focused on the Black on Black crime that is destroying our communities, man. Listen, I'm for anything that makes anyone better, all right? A period. If Black Lives Matter truly was about Black lives, then they will be doing their best to tackle the situation within the Black communities, which is Black on Black crime. 900 Black babies will be aborted today, tomorrow. They were aborted yesterday, the day before. Over 350,000 Black babies will be aborted, murdered this year, just like they were last year. And aside from that being the highest number of Black deaths in this country, and we're not even talking about white women who are pregnant for Black men, or Hispanic women who are pregnant for Black men, or Chinese women we're just talking about Black women going to have an abortion. Now, if the Black people in this country make up less than 12% or in and around 12% of the population, Black women that are able to have children don't make up 12% of the population. They make up about 3, maybe 4%. So 4% of the population is having 40% of the abortions in this country.
Dude, it's insane.
That's crazy.
That's insane. It's genocide. It's genocide.
And then you have 90% of the murders by Black folks being done by Black folks. That's crazy. So why are we creating a path for Black mothers to have the space and the ability to have these children?
Why do you think? Let me ask you. Why do you think that you have like the Democrat Party and leftists all trying to act like, the killing of specifically the Black baby, because they've I think it was in Iowa
they're selling the fetal tissue, they're selling the cells. This is something that my campaign manager won't want me to say, but I'm gonna say it.
But let me ask you.
I'm gonna tell you the truth.
Yeah, I mean it is, but why? But why do you think they're targeting? I mean, white people do have abortions, but they're encouraging Black women to have abortions, and then my whole question. Let me back up. They encourage Black women to have abortions. They encourage the Black community, to have, mothers or children and not have a father. Why do you think the Democrats portray that as that's how it should be in the Black community?
The Democrats have never stopped being racist slave masters. The Democrats have never changed a cheek. They just hide their identities. The same Democrats that started the KKK, the same Democrats that started segregation, the same Democrats that fought for slavery, the same Democrats that killed Martin Luther King Jr. It was found in 1999 in a United States court that Martin Luther King Jr. was killed by LBJ's administration, and he was shot professionally by snipers hired by the Democratic administration. This is a fact. If you don't believe me, you can go Google and fact check it yourself. In 1999, in the United States, in a court of law, the United States was found guilty for assassinating Martin Luther King Jr. Okay, so the same liberal Democrats that bombed Black Wall Street, all they've done is hide what it is that they're doing. So, listen, brother, you don't control the music when you're black. Someone else controls it. A liberal machine controls it. The liberal media controls it. Why do you think all you see is black women just degrading themselves and shaking their behinds on TV, and the only thing they show that they have to offer you is sexuality? They don't show you. You don't see any Huxtable shows anymore. You don't see any beautiful black women who are lawyers anymore with successful black husbands. When I was entertaining and I was a rapper, I could have done Love and Hip Hop. I was actually an extra on the show. And even thinking about the idea of it really threw me off, because all you see on these shows are men who, in black people's eyes, are clearly successful from talent that they have. But then who do you see them go to? Women who don't value their bodies, women who clearly make themselves up. And I'm not against women doing whatever it is they want to do to feel pretty, but successful men aren't just looking for women who are bartenders. They aren't just looking for women who are Instagram models or magazine models. They're looking for women who are accomplished, who are educated. Looking for women who are in college. This is the idea that they have. If we have these people uneducated and unprepared, when we finally take over and this globalist agenda actually takes effect, we can get rid of them. They will have no power whatsoever economically. I mean, not even in numbers. They won't be able to fight us back. They won't be able to do anything. There will be no stopping what it is that we haven't. I believe that the globalist movement, because I'm a historian, and you look at history, look what Nazi Germany did to the Jews. They disenfranchised them economically, socially. Then they removed their firearms from them. And then they started to push them into ovens. What is happening right now? What's happening right now before our very eyes? Oh yeah,
dude, it's like coming down, and a lot of people seeing it happening, and a lot of people even ignore it. You know, and let me bring this up. I want to make a point about the Democrats, and you know, it was the Democrats that wanted to have slavery and keep black people enslaved, and you had Republicans that wanted to fight for black people to have freedoms and have it where black people can own firearms. They were dealing with the NRA
The NRA was started by blacks and whites to teach blacks how to protect themselves.
Right. So then you have the Democrat Party. They have been lying to black people. LBJ said that he will have every voting Democrat within 200 years. And he did it within 60. So you have today, you still have the Democrat Party. They're doing the same thing, the same tactics, but now they're doing it to white people. And the Democrat Party will have everyone believe that the party switched. See, they've been lying from the beginning, and now all of a sudden they're telling the truth. When we're supposed to believe that they're telling the truth when the party switched. No, the only thing that switched were their tactics. That's the only thing that switched.
Democrats are hell-bent on removing all of these Confederate statues because they're Democrats that they're trying to remove. So he knows that, but you know what? Real black folks don't care about them talking points, because what real black folks are dealing with? Christmases, and they're unable to buy gifts for their kids. Hispanics learn about Christmases, and they can't buy from the kids. And every black person that I know loves God. Every Hispanic person I know loves God. I couldn't go from my Nana house to my Wella house without seeing a picture or a cross inside there depicting the Son of God in that house. We went to church when I was coming up. We didn't believe in saying F God and F this and F that. We didn't believe in seeing old folks being harassed. Everything that's happening right now in front of us is because the devil is trying his best to destroy this whole entire planet. This country is the last stand, not only for freedom, but for God.
Yep, and humanity.
We are in our battle for good and evil.
Absolutely, absolutely.
You need to wake up.
Absolutely.
Because they're trying to teach your 5-year-old children about sex. Let me tell you something. No 5-year-old in the history of ever should ever be taught what sex is.
Dude, dude, that's a whole different. So we could go down that rabbit hole.
But I gotta touch on it real quick.
Because
I know everyone within the LBGT community, you're going to feel me on this. Whatever you do in your bedroom, folks, that's your business. And no one has the right to tell you what to do in the privacy of your own home. But my children shouldn't be learning what you're doing in the privacy of your own home. They should have the opportunity to play in the sandbox, scrape their knees, play with Legos, and be kids with the other kids within that environment. It isn't until you get to the age of consent that you should be taught about sex in school. And even before that happens, it's the parents' responsibility to teach their children how to protect themselves and how to make sure that the person that they find attractive values them as a person first. You don't teach it to 5-year-olds. These same devil-worshiping democrats are trying to not only destroy everything in this country, but they're starting with our children, the generation that's supposed to come after this one that's behind us. If they get a chance to destroy and corrupt these children, forget about it. It's over. It's over, people.